Hey, all right. Welcome to Pipe Show. This is Bhubal, and in this video, we're going to talk about the application system design. Actually, we're going to make Android applications. So I just went through a lot of YouTube videos, but they typically talking about the backend side, like how the system supposed to be done on the backend side kind of things. But I don't see any video that delicately covering the Android perspective, like how it's supposed to be, the what way we can develop a system, and what are the things need to be considered while developing the system, etc., etc. Okay, so I'm thought of making this video so that the people can go to the system interviews, can make use of it. Okay, so first of all, we just need to talk about the requirements. The requirement is I'd like to develop a banking applications where I just will be having some login page. So after doing login, then I have to navigate to the dashboard. In the dashboard, I will be having the a number of accounts. Why I say a number of account is a person can have the checking account, savings account. If he borrow the loan, he might be having a loan account as well. If he borrow credit cards, then he might be having a credit card account as well. Okay, so we have to list all the information in the dashboard. The moment you click any one of the account, then we have to take it to the ledger page. So ledger page is nothing but like incoming and outgoing transactions. Okay, if you spend a money, that we call as outgoing transaction. If you deposit, as if someone deposit your money, like salary kind of things, then it will be called as a credit balance or kind of something. Okay, so we'll have to display the transaction details, and the moment user clicks on the transaction, he might be navigating the transaction detail page where it will be display the different descriptions and when the exact transaction has been made and etc, etc. If it's a credit card, then we might be showing the map as well. Okay, where exactly user made that particular transaction also. So this is my requirement. Let's write down the requirements. Okay, requirements, the first one is a login page, and the second one would be the dashboard. As I said, third one is transaction details, or we can say the ledger page. Ledger page, we can call it the transaction page, I could say. Okay, and we might be having the filter option in it, filter options, like so that you can able to what do I say, like you can able to filter the different transactions based on the transaction type, or based on the minimum balance, minimum and maximum amount kind of things. And then the fourth one is the moment you click each transaction, it has to take you to the transaction detail page. Transaction detail page. And yeah, that's these are the initial kind of requirements I could say at this point in time. The next things we need to talk about is a functional requirement. In the functional requirement, we can ask some question to get it clarified, because it may affect your application as well. So for example, is multiple logins allowed at the same time or not? For example, I have a device like a laptop here, I have a mobile phones here. Okay, what if I do log in both the devices at the same time? Most probably one of the devices need to be kicked off. That's how most of the banking application will work. Okay, they don't allow two different devices to log in at the same time for the same account. We need this information because sometimes system gonna send you the error code saying that you already logged with different devices, you are not allowed to log in again. Or it might be sending you the error code saying that you want to log out that particular option before log into this device. So it might be showing the different option to the user, so user might be taking the different approach on it. If the user not interacting with the session for a long time, let's say 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then do we need to log out the user by default or not? That's a question. So most probably the answer would be yes. So most probably the timeout session should be 5 minutes. Okay, to make a connection with the server, like you're making an API calls. If the API call says that 400, 500, some XS, Y, Z error codes, then I will allow the user to retry. I will provide the option saying that, hey, something went wrong. Do you want to retry? Then I will provide the retry button over there. The moment the user clicks on the retry button, it may make a call again, and then that call will be go in the loop until otherwise he's make a connection, or I will provide the cancel button as well. So if user don't want to retry that particular operation, you can very well press that cancel button so that the operation will be cancelled there. So do I need to include the retry options? That's another questions. The next one is, do I need to store some data in the system, like which means devices? So instead of encoding the string in the system, I would prefer to drive it through the configurations. Like for example, if it's a 400 this error message, 500 this error message, so that when that particular error message has happened, I'll go and check the configuration file. and get that error message and show to the user. So in future, if you want to change the error message, you are welcome to change it in the app configuration, so that app configuration will be pulled in a specific interval from the server and store it here. Okay, and also there is animation files which can be driven from the server as well. So like animation files will be like put my load animation JSON in the some server and give that particular URL and put it here. So some error messages occur, I would have say, hey, this animations that I supposed to show for this error kind of error message. Okay, there are a number of scenario we can use app configuration. They definitely will say yes for that too as well. Okay, so this is my functional requirement. I just wanted to keep it as simple. If you ask me, then I can talk more about it. There are multiple functional requirements we can talk about it. Okay, because it's a very big discussion, by the way. So the next one is non-functional requirements that we need to mention it here. So availability and reliability. Play Store reject my application or something, I need to make sure that the updated version is always available, and also I need to keep updating my application the regular interval as and when API version got changed. Also, we can say that the servers should be available all the times. Okay. Next one is the reliability, which means my application is making the transactions end to end. If something goes wrong in the middle, my application has to protect the user being getting impacted. That I can say reliability, and also make sure that application doesn't crash. So at least I like to maintain 99.9% crash free applications. Okay, that's a minimum requirement I like to set it here. So my requirement is done. Next one is analysis. So in analysis, we need to make a key decision like whether we need to go for a single activity based applications or multi-activity based application, and whether I need to go for a Jetpacks or typical XML based application kind of thing. So based on this requirement, I would say like a single activity would be best, because most of the screens like login, dashboard, ledger, and transactions each screens, I'll keep having one activity, so that activity will be serving the different screen at the different intervals. Okay, and the next one is definitely I'll use for the Jetpack Compose, because I'm very much familiar with it, and I'll be going for a Kotlin to render the UI on the screen. We might be having a two approach. One is just hard coding everything in the system itself. For each small changes, you need to touch the applications. Okay, that's one approach. So second approach would be the content management system, they would say, like, which means I'll be having a JSON that feed it to my pages. That pages will be parsed JSON. That JSON will be having the text style, text format, and a border color, etc., etc. And then I'll be using that particular information to render my style. Okay, that's a CMS driven approach. So I like to go in the middle ground. Like if I go with the CMS, then the problem is I need to configure each and every small things from the server. So that's a very tedious process from the server also. Okay, so I just want to come into the middle ground, saying that I'll develop setup templates, which means if it's a transaction, if it's a debit transaction, I'll be just making the three different templates. One with left side will be having the title and description. Another template would be right side transaction, transaction header, and the descriptions and amount. So likewise, so based on the different requirement, I'll make a three different template and having it in my devices. From CMS side, you can able to pick one template. Okay, just say template 1, template 2, template 3, template 4. So each transaction you can say, if a template 1, the template 1 will be picked, and your data will be rendered over there. Okay, if you want template 3, just go to the template 4, and then your JSON say template 4, then I'll pick the template 4 and render this information. Okay, so CMS with template based approach, that's what I supposed to do. I think otherwise I'm good with that. Here I say this analysis, I say CMS based application, right? And also I need to add one more stuff here, which is nothing but like I just want to go with the multimodal applications. So the meaning the multimodal application is, so each model is responsible for handling one set of what do I say, one set of functionality. For example, if I have three different banking account checking, saving, And loans, I'll be having three different models saying that checking one model will be rendering the all checking related stuff will be there, and savings related UIs will be available only in the sales savings perspective. If something is common between all three, then will be available the common. Okay, so first one is app model, second one is a common UI model which having the common UI like templates, all will be available the common UI. The next one is a network model where it has like it is responsible to make a network communications along with the caching mechanism. And then we can go for something is analytical model. So there is analytical model. Analytical model is responsible for sending the analytical events to different vendors, for example Google, Adobe, etc., etc. Okay, that's the next one is a navigation model. Actually, in a Jetpack Compose, we have a Compose screen everywhere. So we need to bind the Compose screen through the navigation manager. And the moment we pass, as I told you before, I'm going with a single activity-based application, which means we'll be having only one navigations. That navigation has to be passed to different models. Instead of passing that particular component like navigation controller, I would pass this navigation manager to all the different model where you just send the route, like which route you just wanted to go. Based on this, I'll make a decision. I will be having one common place where I just handle all the navigation. Then checking and savings model, and then we have a credit card, right? Credit card model. All three models having the same UI means we don't have any concerns. But the moment it has a different UI and different functional logic, business logic, means then we must be like segregating into the three would be the better approach. That's our reason. So let's segregate it so that it will be easy to handle it in future. Also, if some new developers come, some teams comes, we can assign that one single model to them. So let them handle it everything. Okay, that's the approach behind it. Now we need to identify. Oh, then was a core data model. So core data model is obviously like we'll be having the uh, data classes for all this. Okay. Okay, all right, I'm done with my models. Now I need to make a like a flow diagram or how the flow will be. Okay, so that would be easy for everyone to understand what exactly is going on. So first, let's have my app. The app will be communicated with my one of these layers. Like I could say like uh, checking models or savings model, credit card model, and then I'll be having a common model which have the UI, which means I'm talking about the common UI. Okay, common UI. The app is like an entry point. It will be having like main activity. uh, it has a main activity, right? So in the main activity can able to launch one of this, and most probably it will be having something like a welcome or onboarding screen as well, onboarding model. So onboarding model is responsible for showing the welcome screen or login details like making the authentication, etc. And the common model, common UI could be like covering all this stuff. Okay. And then on the down, we'll be having something like network or local database models. Okay, it will be responsible for making the network operations as well as database interaction, if anything. And the down will be having something like core model, where it has a dependency on this. Okay, it will be having the common utility function that can be served across all these things. Okay, and one more thing is the security will be common across all the way, and securities should be the common for across different blocks available here, because app UI might be having the different treatment for security, like we should not accept this character, that character, and validation, those can be considered as security over there. When it comes to the network layer, we have a different security, like make sure that every API should be go over the HTTPS. That's the first requirement. Then we might be having, if you are storing anything into the local database, make sure that's encrypted, is encrypted, I could say. And if you are sending any sensitive information like a PDF information, make sure that it goes through the end-to-end encryption. So if you want to know the end-to-end encryption, I already put on a video in Tamil, so please go ahead and see that one. So most probably we'll be using the end-to-end encryption to reveal or fetch or exchange the data that is related to P2. Like say he's an actor, and most probably he'll be interacting with a screen that we call as a login screen. And the login screen, mostly we call as login screen, it would be in the Jetpack Compose, and then we'll be having something like a login screen view model, login screen view model, and so login view model will expose the something called as data in the form of state flow, and the moment it's updated any data here, and then this data is binded with this screen, okay, any components. This supposed to be dotted lines because, and I should be having a two-way binding. Oh, one-way binding, okay. So which means login screen, if user makes any operations over there, that responsibility goes to the login view screen view model. Then the login screen view model validate those informations and update the data accordingly. Then the moment the data get changed, the login screen also automatically gets changed because it's a declarative programming language. The moment the state changes, the UI also will get changed automatically. Okay. The moment user clicks the sign in button here, then the login model will be get triggered for the sign in button. Then it's gonna call the repository, which is available in the network model, like a view model, I could say. It's a view model, not a model. Okay, sorry. So login, once the user enter the username and password, the clicking the login button, it will gonna call some functions like do login kind of function inside the login screen view model. Then it will gonna call the network layers repository function, like say do login. Okay, then the moment it goes to do login and pass this data whatever the users typed on, and then it will pass it to security, and then security layer we're gonna check like what kind of information it is. It's kind of V2 information. Then it will gonna apply the end-to-end encryption that we're gonna talk later. If you want to go ahead and see the video which I put some days back. Okay, so go here, and then if it's end-to-end encryption, it will encrypt the data and send it to the server. So server gonna read this data, and if user is valid, then it's gonna send the success back, and then the success back to network layer, and network layer send it back to the login view model. All this through the flows, and the login flow will be updated this data flow, then the data will be displayed here. Okay. One more thing, if there is something need to be like a server sending the response, right? If there is some response that needed to be cached, then the network layer will be taking the responsibility of caching that information too. So it will cache that information in our disk. And if some login model asking for some app configuration, then probably it might be having the reference of app configuration already in the out disk. Probably it will read that out disk from here and sending back to the login screen view model. This is how high level it will be. So from technical standpoint, like let's say the finally, uh, what is a technical library I would suggest I would have used it for this particular things would be for network. I would go for like a retrofit. Database, I would have go for room database. For dependency injection, I would go for Hilt Android, and then these are the major library I could think of at this particular point in time. So as and when needed, probably multiple libraries may come into the picture. Okay, so this is how I would approach this particular system design interview. All right. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching the video. Jai Bhim. Bye bye.